What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rough Draft Research Dynasty Podcast. We are here to get your dynasty juices flowing. We don't give a shit if you think we're right. If you want to talk shit, we will talk shit back. We're just here to get those juices flowing. We're just going to throw out some BS and see what sticks. So today we're talking 2021 rookie wide receivers, bonus tight end in there, and this is not fantasy football advice. So we'll kick it over to the boys. What's up, boys?
Hey, man.
What's going on?
Getting it on.
We got Daniel Darthur in the club, as well as Chris and G-Love.
What's going on?
So, yeah, we'll just kick it off some news. Lots of free agent cuts going on right now. Tyrell Williams and signings going to the Lions. Jaron Cook and Kyle Rudolph get cut, which is great for a guy like me who's got Adam Troutman and Irv Smith Jr. Very excited to see what happens there. Big Ben has re-signed. David Johnson re-signed. We need one more year. Big DJ. And also, Alex Smith got cut. And I know Daniel's really excited about that. So with that news out of the way, let's just kick it to D. Let's talk about some 2021 receivers.
All right. Yeah. First off, we want to look at kind of what's worked in the past in the NFL so we can identify a few types of receivers that we're looking for to be successful. I started off, I just kind of looked at the past 4 years to keep it a little more relevant. Looked at the top 24 wide receivers, fantasy finish in the PPR format. And it's kind of a weird spread, you know. You end up with a weird average weight of 203 pounds and a weird average height of 6'1"-ish. And none of the players are really that, you know. You got a blend of a bunch of 5'10" guys and a bunch of 6'4" guys. And it wasn't weighted for repeated top 24 finishes. So it's kind of weird, but I got 3 profiles that I really am loving. So we got the under 6 foot, 180-pound guys that are running 4.4s or better. And that's your Tyler Lockett's, Antonio Brown's, your Tyreek Hill's, and your T.Y. Hilton's. So little speedsters, field stretchers, really versatile guys. So 12 out of the 43 wide receivers that finished the top 24 in the past 4 years fit that bill. Moving next to the next bill, we got the over 210-pound guys that ran over a 4.5 40. So now you're talking about your Adams, your Hopkins, your Allen Robinsons, just like big guys.
Sounds like a really good group.
Yeah, it's amazing. And there's 14 out of the 43 were that. But that's a group that if you look at the rest of those people, this is where you get your Treadwells, your Chris Connollys. Like there's a lot of guys that just don't hit in that. Sammy Coates, all of these guys, Moncrief, Kelvin Benjamin. They're just, the list goes on.
I was so high on Kelvin Benjamin.
So it seems like that's
So are the Carolina Panthers.
That's what you want, man. You want Mike Evans, right?
Yeah.
But you don't get that. You don't always get that. And then I have guys that are over 6 foot but under 210 pounds.
Okay.
So they're lengthy and they're fast in the 4.4s, and that's your Stephon Diggs, your Justin Jeffersons, and your Calvin Ridleys.
I'll take that group too.
Yeah. So it's crazy. They all look good, but you got to keep in mind these are based only on top 24 finishes over the past 4 years. And so 17 of them were in that last group, so over 6 foot and under 210. So that's a very exciting group. I could go into it even further, but it could get carried away. I really like to look at the 2020 class and how they fit into that.
Okay.
That could take all day. So let's just get into
I got you.
some real rookies stuff.
All right.
So, you know.
All right. Well, yeah, I think I got a guy that fits perfectly into that third class for you. Dyami Brown from NC.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 6'1", 185. He's going to be 21 at the start of the season. And I love this guy, man. He's a vertical threat. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but the speed does still show up. Like, he's not a burner at like a Tyreek Hill, but he'll still fly past people. He hasn't run a lot of routes in college, but I don't. It's not that he can't. I just think it's their offense. So once he gets good coaching, I think he's gonna crush it. I think he kind of got a little disguised because UNC had 2 outstanding running backs, and their quarterback was good, not great. And so he kind of gets overlooked. I think he could be the steal of the NFL draft, maybe, and definitely a dynasty draft because he's looking at going in like the late 2nd, 3rd round. I love him. Also, another thing, and which is big for me on wide receivers, run blocking. This dude took a guy against Syracuse like 25 yards down the field, just grabbed him and ran, and it was incredible. This dude, he's really aggressive, and sometimes that bites him on blocking. He can just blow by somebody, but I love his aggressiveness, his physicality. That's another thing you'll see when you watch him. He is going for the ball. He's gonna just try to fight it out of everyone's hands, and I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, there's not much I don't like about this guy, to be honest with you. Put up 1,000 yards, over 1,000 yards last year, 8 touchdowns. Again, on an offense that ran the ball quite a bit. And he's around the size of Stephon Diggs, and that would be kind of my comparison for him. I think he has like a Stephon Diggs kind of play style to him. So, I mean, I don't know what you guys are thinking, but...
I think it was really fun to watch him play. It's very dynamic. Doesn't he run like every route on the wing, like the left wing?
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
single play. That, obviously that's cool because someone needs to do that, but you'd love to see a little more versatility.
Yeah. Well, that's what I agree. I definitely would like to see more, but I think with coaching, because when he does run other routes, he still looks clean and polished. He just doesn't do it that often.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things. I think it'll come together,
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they had a good thing going in UNC with Daz Newsome there.
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
That team's going to be a little ugly next year.
Yeah, they're losing
all that talent.
A lot of pieces.
Heck yeah.
Well, what I found pretty interesting in this guy is he did receive offers from Alabama, Ole Miss, Michigan, Virginia Tech, but he was just kind of like a thoroughbred UNC guy. So he just decided to stay. So he's kind of got that. He's got that caliber, which means he could have played for someone like Alabama, and their recruiting class was crazy.
Yeah, it probably could have helped his draft stock out a lot if he played somewhere like that because he would have been much more heavily featured, in my opinion.
Yeah, and so I got to ask. We got to get to the concerns, though. He has been known to drop passes.
That's true.
And something, for a guy with that speed, he didn't get used in the special teams. I mean, is that a concern at all? Like, is he not a shifty guy? I mean, does that affect how you feel about him?
It doesn't really affect how I feel about him at all. The drops is a little concerning because I kind of ran into that issue with Jerry Jeudy. I fell in love with Jerry Jeudy, and he had like the 2nd most drops this year, and it's a little concerning. I think a lot of his, though, he's going into high point balls and being really physical, and he ends up like getting hit and dropping them. Now, he does have just random drops too, but I think a lot of his drops ended up being like that. And as far as the special teams thing, man, some people play special teams, other people don't. Like, I'm fine with it. Am I mad that Devontae Adams doesn't play special teams? No. Like, if he's producing, then it doesn't matter. And I don't think it's the shiftiness either. I think it's just they wanted him to be their number one, and you don't want to have your number one returning punts usually because he could get hurt way easier. And so that part doesn't. The drops, that's something to look out for, though, for sure, with him.
Right on. Well, that's Dyami Brown. Well, Dan, you want to take over from here?
Yeah, man. My first guy, he fits that big body. He's 6'3", 215, and that's Sage Surratt. And, man, this guy is very fun to watch play, if you ask me. He's kind of an old-style bruiser. He's kind of a monster off the line and just hits the cornerback and wants to drive through and with him and then make a play at the point of the catch. It's not amazing for the NFL because you need to get separation, and he's not the fastest guy. But he has really, really, really good hands, and he knows how to time the ball well to catch it with his hands. He can't catch with his body because he's usually wearing a cornerback. But he's just a dynamic playmaker, and he's that big, big guy. Oh, yeah. You see, like, half of his catches are contested catches because he's just not breaking away from guys. One thing I thought was pretty interesting, though, he is a large man, like I said, 215. In 2019, for every target, he had 25% of that number. He had broken tackles. So it's like 1 in 4 catches, he broke a tackle.
Ooh,
so he is
nasty.
using that physical size. But he really is. I think his skill is being able to pinpoint where the ball's going to be and make a move on it. He's really, really good in the run blocking game. And it's just he just wants to hit guys, and I don't think it's going to translate to the next level very well because those guys are more physical than the dudes up at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And he does have some moves, but they're not NFL moves. He's got college moves, so he's going to need a lot of coaching to really get off and make the leap. But he does kind of measure up like an Allen Robinson, but I'm not really expecting that out of him. I honestly think the way he plays, if he's expected to be the number 1 receiver on a team, we're going to end up with another N'Keal Harry situation where he just doesn't get the separation he needs to have success in the NFL. But if he gets on, a number 2 corner, that's a whole nother game. I was watching the Alabama game with Wake Forest, and it was really interesting to watch him play. Let me make sure. Oh, yeah, baby. It was a Florida State game, and he was playing their number 2 corner, and it was because the size matched up better for him than the other guy. And he had a great game, but he wasn't playing the alpha. In the NFL, there's more versatility at the corner. They don't have to match up for size necessarily. And I think that a lot of his production came from playing weaker corners because of his size.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of like a faster late period Des Bryant. Which, I mean, you can still get touchdowns out of that, but it's one of those touchdown dependent guys, I feel like, in the NFL.
For sure.
Because he's not going to rack up like 160 yards for you ever because he just doesn't have, unless he's getting like 20 catches a game. But
no.
But I mean, yeah, his ball skills are on point with anybody, in my opinion. Like, he can just high jump that ball, snatch it out of the air.
He just turns that corner and fucking gets him, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got it, like you said, last year, or in 2019, he had a touchdown for every 6 catch. Like, 1 in every 6 catch was a touchdown. Oh, wow. So he's that kind of, I don't want to say, Chase Claypool, because he's not that fast.
Yeah.
But he is that kind of red zone, could be.
Red zone weapon?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'll take that.
Yeah. So I'm excited about him. What do you got, something for me?
Hey, I just wanted to state the fact that he did set his state records in North Carolina for receptions, receiving yards, and receiving TDs, but came out as a 3-star recruit. So I found that pretty interesting. It kind of lines up. Maybe he doesn't have the speed colleges are looking for, state and state. But yeah, the only concerns I had were separation and speed, and you kind of touched on that. I'd be interested to see if he if he's not the one, maybe he'll get that number 2 corner and, can out catch him. He's got strong hands.
Yeah,
so.
That's definitely a guy you got to watch where he goes. If he goes somewhere and they're expecting him to be that guy, I wouldn't take him.
No way.
But if he's with a good receiving core and you can get good matchups, I like it.
So where would you guys take him in a rookie draft? I mean,
probably the back end of the second.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, depending on where he goes.
True. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell right now, but yeah, I would say that around that area.
Yeah, I'll say I looked at film on him and I kind of fell in love with his hands. So
Dude, he does have monster hands.
Yeah.
He just when he catches that ball, it's there. Like it's like cemented in his hands.
Yeah.
And like he's got a little bit of swag to him, so I like that in a receiver.
Absolutely.
So well, let's keep it moving, man. Let's Christian, go to your next guy.
Okay, I got a guy who before this was looking to go in the 3rd round, and he is getting a lot of pre-draft hype, and I completely understand it. Amari Rodgers out of Clemson, 5'9", 211, thick boy. Like
Thick Boy Nation.
I like it.
That's where I put that drop. Thick Boy Nation.
But he can play all over the field, man. Like I was watching Travis Etienne highlights, and this is when I really started to notice him. He's always moving around for Clemson, man. Like pre-motion, doing everything for them. And I was like, all right, who is this guy? I just got to start watching him. And I like this guy a lot too. He's a 4-star recruit coming out. And you could still get him in the second round, maybe the third right now, depending on what he does in the combine. But he's just solid, man. He's one of those guys. He's around the size of like Amari Cooper, Steve Smith. Like he's a little shorter than those guys. Well, he's not shorter than Steve Smith. He's a little shorter than Amari Cooper, but he weighs more than Steve Smith, but he's the same height. And I like it, man. He's got good hands. He's got great balance. He can... When he catches the ball and he starts running, he's very hard to take down because he's got that low center of gravity, but he's got that thick body, and which is nice. He's got a lot of yards after the catch. He's really good. I think he's a good route runner, not a great route runner, but again, that's something that can be worked on. And his start and stop ability is super impressive. He's got a really good burst right after. And yes, he's definitely one of those guys I like. He got 102 targets last year. For being that guy, I think if he goes to these new style offenses like the Shanahans, McVays, LaFleur, where they have that pre-motion guy, he could be like the best version of that guy. Because I mean, last year, Green Bay was using Tyler Ervin and Tavon Austin, and no disrespect to those guys, they're decent players, but like this guy could be the dream scenario for those offenses, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely emphasis on decent on those players.
That's funny.
But that, I mean, yeah, that's what I got as far as positives. He's shorter. He's not going to win you any jump balls. I mean, he can, but like he doesn't have the height to really help you out there. Getting separation is a little hard for him sometimes because he's not like the fastest guy on earth. But as he just runs by a bunch of people on the screen. But those are like, again, it's like those are concerns, but they're not like major concerns to me. Like, I know a lot of people will be concerned with his 2019 numbers, though. And I just want to say, just to remind everybody or let people know that don't know, he tore his ACL in March of that year. And that's usually an 8 to 10 month recovery, and he was back in 6 months to play. So he played that entire year coming off a 6-month ACL tear. And he still put up okay numbers, like they weren't terrible. And so I think people that maybe don't know that will look at that and be like, okay, 2020 was great, but 2019 kind of sucked. I don't know. I'm giving him a wash for that season, coming back 6 months off an ACL tear and still doing all right. I'm good with it. He's tough, man. He's so tough.
Oh, man. Yeah, I will say that a big concern that I've been seeing online is the 2019 stats. And, man, I hope it stays consistent. This is a guy that I want in the third round of a draft. And I think there's enough talent and hype in those first 2 rounds that it's possible. But, we'll see after. It's all depending on where these guys go.
And
but
his combine numbers that they're going to.
Yeah, he put up 24 reps. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, I saw that for the kid in high school.
Yeah, he's a strong fucking guy, man. Yeah, and that's where I saw him too. I don't watch a lot of college football, but the Senior Bowl, him and his teammate Powell.
Yeah, Powell showed out.
And I was just kind of like, man, this guy's just quick, and it's a lot of fun.
Heck yeah, I think I like the way he just runs through everybody. It's amazing. Runs through contact like a freight train.
Yeah,
and it's really cool. I think that there could be a little confusion that might come in our favors if we're looking to draft him later. It's that Antonio Gibson kind of Lynn Bowden, what is the team going to use him for kind of situation. And we know he's a fucking baller slot receiver. He can find a soft spot in the middle, and he can break tackles, and he's got breakaway speed. So I think, this guy's awesome.
I like him a lot.
Let's kick it over to our fourth rookie receiver that we're talking about. Kick it over to you, D.
Okay, well, I'm going with Elijah Moore. Ole Miss, dude. This guy is a dog pissing in the end zone. Costing his team a game. Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. I mean, it doesn't get any more amazing college athlete than that, you know. So anyway, obviously he bounced back from that and crushed it the following year just to prove how badass he is. But yeah, he's 5'9", 185, so he's right in that that Tyler Lockett zone, and I love what he does on the field. The team uses him a lot in motion, and he plays outside, inside, a lot of slot snaps, but enough wide out that you can trust him to be that versatile player in the NFL. And this is the guy that is, his hands are just out of this world. I know I keep talking about this. I was just talking about Sage's hands, but this guy's hands are really, really well. They're very good. One thing I notice is that he must be his quarterback's best friend because he gets a lot of nasty, nasty throws and just has a way with a small frame to stretch out and catch some of those balls that he has no business even getting a fingertip on.
Yeah.
And he just pulls them in, and it's amazing. And to speak to that, another thing he does is always helping his quarterback out. He's the guy where you watch his film, and a lot of his big plays are off broken plays where he just doesn't quit on the play. He finds a way to get open, and he just makes it work for the QB. So I like that. I like his versatility. I like his hands. I like his work ethic, and you can see it on the field every play. One thing that really I just can't get over is he was 125 yards away from breaking A.J. Brown's single season yardage record, and he did that in an 8-game season.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to touch on. 8 games, 1,100 yards, almost 12.
Yeah.
That's crazy. No, you said it best. He's a dog, man. I know you kind of taking a little joke there, but he is. He's another fighter. He just goes in there, does what he needs to do, and just snatches the ball away from people. I like him. I like him a lot too.
Yeah, I love the hands.
There's so many good receivers in this draft.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. I feel like that's how it is every year.
Yeah. I mean, I could go into it further. I look for him to go in the second round, and he's going to be the kind of guy that I don't think people are going to be thinking about as much. You know, they're not going to be super excited because he's going to end up playing behind a really, really good wide receiver and having to earn his way into the hearts of fantasy owners.
Yeah. That's fine, though. Grab those guys early. Grab them and just stash them. If you have a good enough team, you don't need these second, third round rookie picks to be your starters anyway. Just hold on to them and let him blossom behind somebody. I don't know. I think he has a chance to do that for sure.
Exactly. I think if he can end up somewhere where if they take a high profile, say Detroit gets crazy and takes 2 wide receivers, even though they picked up Terrell Williams, or Miami picks up, or Chicago picks up 2 guys, he's going to be I think he's going to be the second guy and a little bit of an afterthought. He's going to be the Bryan Edwards to Henry Ruggs in a situation. I think he's going to be the guy who you can cash in on.
I like it
personally.
Yeah, man, he's great. He's fun to watch. I mean, coming out of Ole Miss, it's a good place to come from. DK Metcalf. Speaking of DK Metcalf, he also a concern is he does have a limited route tree. I don't know if that really concerns you and his size, but there's 2 things I liked going back to Amari and Elijah. They had some special team yardage, so I mean they could definitely be used in a lot of situations where the NFL's kind of moving towards with the Shanahans and the LaFleurs and stuff like that. But do you have a little rebuttal to this limited route tree?
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be the same thing you say everywhere, is that in college they have players do what they're good at, and in the pros they make players focus on what they're not good at. And he's going to be able to make that transition just from the work ethic and the way he plays. It's not going to be a problem.
Yeah. Just to wrap it up here, too, he had offers from Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and over 30 other schools. So, he,
Ain't a scrub, dude.
Yeah, he's got that caliber of play, if not only are we seeing it on film, a lot of top guys, top schools saw that too. So Let's kick it back over to G-Love, man.
Okay, I got a guy. Tutu Atwell out of Louisville. 5'9", 165. You guys want a rerun of Tavon Austin, but possibly without the hype, so it's worth this? I mean, so I'm on record, not on this pod or anything, but just throughout life, of being kind of annoyed with the whole Tavon Austin experience. I didn't understand it. But now you could get a guy in the later rounds of a draft who has this athleticism and this versatility. And I think offenses have kind of evolved to be able to actually use a guy like this. I think it's huge boom or bust here, in my opinion, because he is so small. But he's got all the athleticism in the world. He needs to be a little polished, but he is blazingly fast and can just cut and run and just take it to the house almost every chance he gets. I mean, again, it's just everything that people said about Tavon Austin is how I feel about Tutu Atwell. But again, you're not spending... Oh, dang. The highlight video says 153, so even smaller than 165. But you're not spending a top 10 overall pick on this guy. You could get him in the 3rd or 4th round and try to develop him in one of these offenses. Can you imagine Kyle Shanahan with a guy like this?
Oh, no, man.
It would be nasty.
Don't step on my Brandon Ayuk territory, son.
It would be nasty. I mean, yeah, his speed, acceleration, and he's a deep threat. I can get, obviously negative, though, his size, being 165, and that goes into one of his biggest negatives. Man, he gets bullied off the ball sometimes. Like, he's just too small. If people don't want him to get the ball, he's not getting it. That's why you have to be able to scheme him open. I mean, he's an okay route runner, but if you can scheme him open and he has open field, it's a chance for a touchdown every time. And that's why I say it's boom or bust. If he goes to a team that thinks they can do something with him and they're not an offensive genius like a McVay or somebody, and then I could see it falling flat on its face because they're just going to be like, oh, well, he's fast. He should get open. No, you need to scheme this guy open and let him take the ball. And I think, man, yeah, if he went to San Francisco, oof, I would love that.
I would hate that.
I would love that.
As a Brandon Ayuk owner.
But yeah, if you watch his tape for sure and go into like more than the highlights, like, yeah, he does get bullied off the ball all the time. It happens way too often, and that does scare me a lot. It scares me a lot more than any of the other negatives for my other two guys I brought up today, for sure.
I will say, to piggyback off what you said too, like a lot of what I've learned this year is not to watch not to, put too much stock into highlights.
Oh yeah, you can't
too, because you can learn a lot. Like if you're a dynasty owner and you want to learn a little bit more on how these guys, play and if they're gonna flop, you definitely want to dive into some film.
Yeah, get the film where they're showing every play they're on the field, not just when they make a big play. Those are fun to watch, but don't get you too excited about some people.
I think one thing about him is you say he gets bullied at the line of scrimmage. I think that he's really tried to address that with some of the moves he makes on the line. And if he can beat a guy at the line, it gives him that step. If he can avoid contact downfield, he can cut.
Yeah, that actually is more where I was worried about it. It's downfield. I agree with you. He's kind of developed a way to get off of people on the line, but yeah, it's down the field. Like if it's an underthrown ball and he has to go for it, or they had a really good coverage scheme on him, then odds are he's not catching that ball.
Absolutely. Man, I liked him. I liked watching him though.
Oh yeah, he's so fun. He's a blast to watch.
Yeah. Fun fact: his father was a Golden Gopher at Minnesota. He was kind of a star there. He in Minnesota. He set some records there at the time. They're no longer there anymore. I don't know if you've heard of a guy named Rashad Bateman. He's pretty good. But so he's kind of got that pedigree. He didn't go to the NFL, so it's like, but he learned. He grew up, knowing this, so he might have a few tricks up his sleeve.
Hopefully.
But yeah, he's been known to drop some balls too. So
That's a
you
lot
can't
of
be.
him getting
I
hit,
feel like you
too.
can't be. Yeah, you can't be small and
Yeah.
drop balls. But this way the NFL's moving, speed is a lot, and this guy is a blazer. So
Yeah. Again, huge boomer bust here. Like, so it's risky, but
yeah, he
you
should
could
go to
see
a
it.
place like Minnesota where he can stretch the field with Adam Thielen, Justin
There you go.
Jefferson.
I mean, I see another guy that profiles similar size in Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair.
If he can do what Hollywood Brown has done,
Yeah.
20.
Deshaun Jackson's another guy though that's around that size.
Absolutely.
But then so is Trendon Holiday. So I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, so am I. So you don't see me playing the NFL. So
I'll put this guy on the field.
just kidding. I'm 5'10" in
Whoa.
some shoes. So
there you go.
do you get to wear cleats when you get measured?
High heels.
The high heels. Okay, yeah. I was just wondering.
8-inch stilettos.
It ain't a thing, dude.
I wear my clothes wet to the combine, son.
You need
All
a
right.
platform and a podium. Here we go.
All right. Well, let's kick it off to our final receiver. And go over to old D, to Mr. Darthur, Mr. Daniel, the genius.
The genie.
Because he's going special places with this one.
Like, you need to bottle me up and throw me in the Cave of Wonders. So they call me the genie. No, man, speaking of genies, Cade Johnson is a little bit of a genie to me. I really thought it was interesting watching him play for the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. He's up there at 5'10", 186 pounds. So he's a little small, but so is the school he went to.
Yeah.
But he's a serious fucking guy, man. I really I'm going to just go ahead and say it out loud right now. I love guys that make catches in congestion. Guys
Traffic.
with good hands that know what to do to catch the ball when it's headed their way, no matter what's going on.
Catching balls in Dallas Fort Worth.
That's right. So
6 lanes.
his it's not so much the hands with him. Like Elijah Moore's hands are amazing. For him, it's the ball tracking, and he makes a bunch of catches with a guy on his back. Like there's a guy just riding him, and he's like, "This ball is mine now," and it's amazing. A lot of his success comes off of double moves. He's got an amazing psych out at the second level that allows him to create the space he needs and break away. He's obviously pretty elusive. He's a slim guy, but then again, he's doing this in not really an amazing school. Yeah, that was 2 guys he was wearing when he made that catch. But he's really good. I don't know if he's going to get drafted or not. The thing that jumps out to me for him is his special teams usage. As a freshman, he had 840 kick return yards, which was on 30. So that's an average of 28 yards per reception. That's pretty good. It kind of paired off as he went more full-time wide receiver. He didn't have any receiving yards his freshman year.
So pure special teams guy.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns, though. It's just the kind of thing that's going to keep him on the field in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I think that that'll keep him on a roster. And guys like that can show up in special teams and make a name for themselves can earn the rotational role as a wide receiver. And I think that he's got a good opportunity to be successful in that way. But yeah, I got him kind of like a Darnell Mooney, who was kind of a later guy for the Bears that really just showed up and made a name for himself the hard way. I think if he can do that, he'll be good. Like I said with Sage, he's not going to profile as a number 1. He's a supplemental role. So, gosh, he just times it well. He just cuts guys off and grabs the ball and just takes off. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. This is one of those guys I haven't looked into super well. But from that tape, I mean, I need to go watch some more. But, I mean, yeah, he looks good. I would say, do you put any stock to the small school, like him not playing that many people and maybe?
Yeah. I think he's deep day 3. Like,
Okay.
you're gonna read about him. You're not gonna be watching Roger
Yeah.
Goodell read his name off.
This is when Roger Goodell's sitting in the chair,
Right. Oh, you guys are still watching? That's good. The commercial money's still coming in. But yeah, I definitely think it's one of those things where he's going to have to earn everything. And I think special teams is his gateway onto a roster, and it's his gateway onto the field.
It'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, it would be really fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, dude, just look at his season. I mean, I know the level of competition maybe not be there, and but 17 touchdowns in that 2018 season, and we didn't even get to see him in 2020. I think it's important to put out there he didn't opt out. You know, a lot of these small schools their seasons
closed.
were just canceled.
Yeah.
So it's not like he didn't want to play ball or prepare for the draft. He just didn't have the option to play.
He did enter the transfer protocol, but then decided to just opt out. But so yeah, same. He would have played if they had their regular season for sure.
Well, yeah. So there's all our receivers. I just had a few questions for you. You touched on a little bit when we were talking about Cade Johnson, but you know, when it goes into these receivers, is like the level of competition like a big deal for you? If the metrics are there, like if they perform well at the combine, I mean, is that enough for you? Not seeing them on the field?
For me personally, it can be a factor for sure. It should be a factor for every position because now you're playing against the best of the best. And these little guys that are blowing people out of the water with their speed on tape. And yeah, sure, if they end up at the combine doing well, that helps it. But man, they could be not used to playing corners that can actually cover them. And it could just throw them completely off their game. Now, is it going to make me not draft somebody? Probably not. But it is something you should definitely look out for, I think.
I've got a similar take.
Yeah.
Whereas you talk about the competition and you're looking at like the school, the name, like the conference. I look at the individual matchup. Like I was watching Elijah Moore, and when they played Alabama, he wasn't playing against Patrick Surtain. That was his buddy Jonathan Mingo. So I'm like, well, I'm going to keep an eye on Mingo because he's drawing the number one wide receiver or the number one cornerback. And it was a size. He's larger, and so is Surtain, and Elijah Moore is smaller. But it was the thing where I was watching, Greedy Williams film when I saw him covering on Terry McLaurin instead of Paris Campbell, and I was like, oh, what's going on with this guy, McLaurin? And that's when I fell in love with McLaurin. So I really like to look at the matchup.
That makes sense.
I believe that's how I was influenced into drafting DK Metcalf. When he told me who was that, Jair Alexander? Or no, who was?
No, it was Greedy Williams.
Greedy Williams, yes, Packer. Yeah, you told me when they played LSU, he wasn't on AJ Brown, he's on DK Metcalf, and I was like, that's pretty interesting. Yeah. So I like that. So my next question for you guys is, a lot of people talk about when it comes to running backs, if they're too old coming in because running backs don't last very long in the league, but some of these guys are kind of older. They were seniors, especially like Cade Johnson, and coming from a small school. Is age a factor for you, Sage Surratt? I mean, is that a factor for you when drafting in a dynasty league at all?
I mean, it's not nearly as big as a factor as it is for running backs. Their cutoff isn't 30. I mean, they could maybe start to decline at 30, but there are plenty of receivers that are still good after they're 30 because receivers can kind of develop their game if they lose a little speed, get better at route running, and kind of have more longevity, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's a factor. I don't want to draft a guy that's 25 or 26 maybe, but,
You don't want to draft the Oklahoma State quarterback. What was his name? Josh Whedon or something? Whatever came out of the league at 31.
Yeah, something crazy.
It was
like
a first-round pick.
Some Taysom Hill shit. Right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, if you're talking 24 to 22, I mean, if maybe if I have two guys that I like a lot and I think they're tied and one of them's 22 and the other one's 24, maybe I'll take the 22 guy. But it's not going to be a huge factor in my opinion.
I agree for a different reason. I keep doing this to you.
I like it.
I think that in today's landscape, as far as the transition from college to pro, people are gaming the system, you know. If you look at yourself as a top 15 wide receiver, you're ending your junior year, and you think, you know what, I could get drafted in the 3rd round and that'd be great. Or I could come back and refine my skills, take that next step, and break into the top 8, the top 6. You know, I don't want to go declare this year and compete with the likes of CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy. So I'm going to go back to school, and I'm going to have another year on my age, but I don't think that it's a detriment.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I like that point for sure.
Cool.
I think, yeah, maturity and skills, because you get the opportunity in college to improve yourself in a way that is a lot friendlier to someone's ego or like their mental health. I think there's not as much pressure. You can really be yourself and grow the way you want to instead of being told the way you need to be. Grow. I don't know if that's true or not. Just that's
Seems
what
like a
I
good point.
imagine.
All right, so I just think it's really important that we're talking about these receivers. You know, we can look at it all on paper, do your own research, look up these films. Don't just look at highlights. You'll get too excited with highlights. Don't trust the highlights. I think they're good to look at, but you need to see how these players are on the field, how they block, how like all the little things that coaches look for. And
Yeah, sorry. You nailed it right there. That's what coaches are looking for, and that's what's going to make them. If a guy can't run block, they're not going to draft them, and if they don't draft them, they're not going to get on the field half the time. So you're cutting your on the field time in half if you can't run block. You just are, because they're not going to have you out there, and then they're not going to have you out there for play action now either, because you can't run block.
and then you become one-dimensional.
Yeah, and so many run-pass option things are happening in the NFL too. Like, if you can't run block, they're not putting you in on those plays. And that's just about run blocking. These coaches have been doing this shit for years. They know so much.
Yeah.
Pay attention to what these coaches are doing.
100%.
Like, if a guy goes earlier than expected, maybe figure out why. Like, try to figure out exactly what happened to make a guy that was projected to go in the 5th round go in the 3rd. Right. You know, that's just sorry. I didn't want to step on you, but I just wanted to get on that coach point.
It's a huge thing.
It's a huge thing, and like a lot of it too is, you know, you got to look at these things. Draft capital. You need to look at what their sizes are when they go into these pro days. Like who's putting on the weight, who's getting faster, who's especially with these opt-outs. Like who's putting in the work, because that's what these coaches are looking for. And where are they going? You know, what profiles them? You know, look at the profiles, see where you would like to see them, where you think they should go. And if they go there, like, you know, that's some good shit. And just kind of tie it all together, just like look at Brandon Ayuk. A lot of people shit on him last year, and Shanahan traded up to go get him. Mm-hmm. And he turned out to be incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, for a rookie, obviously.
Yeah. No, he was great.
So with that, let's go into our bonus tight ends. Let's start with G-Love. I should have fucked up this production a little bit, so you guys already know who it is. So, yeah, let's go into Hunter Long.
Okay. So let me ask you guys something. Do you want a tight end who has blazing speed, or is the best athlete on the field, or is going to put up superstar numbers? Because if you do, Hunter Long is not your guy. But
I was like, are you doing Kyle Pitts all of a sudden? I'm really confused.
Like
But-
none of those guys are one person. Right?
We're the experts, not the experts.
But if you want a guy who can put you up steady numbers, is consistent as hell, and gets a fuck ton of targets, he's getting 8 targets a game for Boston College. He got 17 targets when they were playing North Carolina, which is insane to me. Like, and he had a few games where it was like high teens, and he's just consistent. He doesn't have many holes, but he's not a superstar, you know. But you know, Tyler Higbee, upside. Like,
Right.
I like that, especially because you're gonna get this guy in the 3rd round, maybe after your dynasty
I
draft.
think you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
Unless
if
you're going 5 rounds.
If you need a guy that can get you 6 catches for 60 yards and occasionally throw you in a touchdown just to throw in, this is your guy. I think he's super consistent, but he's just not the athletic guy. But he's got the ball skills, he's got the size, and he will sit on routes and just get open in the zone for his quarterback. And that's what you want from a tight end. That's really all I got on him. I'm not the biggest tight end aficionado in the world, but I do like this guy. Tyler Higbee and Mark Andrews are size comparisons. I think he's slower than Mark Andrews, and that's why, honestly, Tyler Higbee's kind of like the poster child for what I think this guy could be, in my opinion.
Nice.
So you're saying he's worth, going off for 3 touchdowns, and then everyone wants to try to trade him to you throughout the year?
Yeah. Oh, he could pull one of those games for you for sure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's something to be said about a guy that you can sit down there and he's going to get you 10 points. On a week, maybe you have some injuries, whatever. This guy's going to get you around 10 points, especially in a PPR. Maybe not if you're not playing PPR.
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you tell him to go block,
He's going to do it. And he makes a lot of his catches. A lot of those 17 targets against North Carolina, he was getting popped. Actually, he got really hard hit really hard on his first target against Cincy, and then he got up and got hit for the rest of the game. I don't know. I agree that if a tight end can't block, because look at the 2 best ones in the league right now, Kelsey and Kittle. Yeah. They're both great blockers.
Dogs.
And that's why Jimmy Graham isn't on the field anymore. He can't fucking block. He's only on the field in the red zone.
And you got to look at he's 21 and a half years old.
Yeah.
A lot of a development for a tight end is the long game.
Yeah.
And if you enter the league younger, the road could be longer, but the potential is definitely there. He plays a solid game, and he looks good. He's capable of doing what needs to be done. I like he's got 5 touchdowns, 685 yards. That's really, really, really good production for a tight end.
That target share for a tight end.
Yeah,
too.
91 targets last year for a tight end.
Yep.
Nearly a quarter of the team's targets.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
It's a lot of trust. A lot of trust.
Yeah, he will definitely get his quarterback's trust. Because, again, he'll just sit on routes, and he's going to try to catch the ball for you. And that's what a quarterback wants.
Yeah. Be my safety valve.
Yeah, be my safety net.
Block and linebacker.
He can definitely be a safety net for you.
For sure.
But
I like him a lot.
Well,
he's good.
let's kick it over to a tight end aficionado and Mr. Daniel Darthur. So let's kick it over. Let's see what he has to say.
Oh my God! Just like my wife under the moonlight, he has set me up for disappointment. But I'm going with Pat Freiermuth. The guy is doing a lot of good things. He's out of Penn State, 6'5", 258, which is what I should weigh, but it's going to be a long journey to get there. I got to say about this guy, he had some big shoes to fill when Mike Gesicki, left Penn State after 4 years, and he came in as a freshman in 2018, and he stepped up to the plate. That first year, he had 26 receptions, but he had 8 touchdowns. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's a red zone monster. And that's really what this guy is. He keeps the touchdown numbers high, even though the rest of his game isn't high. He doesn't have a lot of deep threat. Mm-hmm. He's not that slick tight end that's going to get deep and make it happen for you. He's not going to round out your receiving core like some other guys might. But he's very, very, very good. He's not a deep threat, but he is big. He's a bruiser. He finds the pockets underneath, and he makes a lot of short yardage plays.
Yeah.
He's a safety valve. That's what you need from a tight end, and he's a monster. He can block very well. He's got sure hands. Wears the number 87. What else do you want from a guy? But, yeah, he has the kind of production profile in college that you don't see out of a lot of tight ends.
Yeah.
So just shy of 1,200 yards in 3 years, and that's a 4-game season in 2020. So
nice.
If you look at that, I'm happy. It looks like, I don't know if you what's the math? What's the math? The touchdown, 16 touchdowns in 29 games. So pretty consistent scorer.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, shit, his nickname is Baby Gronk, so what more do you need to really say?
Yeah, I hope that's not.
Oh, no, I hope it doesn't stick, but just the fact that people are calling him that.
Yeah, man.
You know, like even this video has
It's a good
it.
comparison.
Well, yeah, that's the number 87. What do you got? You know, that's what you get, Baby Gronk.
Yeah.
I would just hate to be, you know, I don't like being compared to other folks.
Oh no, I would never want to come into the NFL people saying, "Oh, he's gonna be the next Jordy Nelson." Like, don't fucking say that. Like,
hey, you got that.
but no, yeah, he is good. He's good and consistent. And again, it's that safety valve. I mean, yeah, it's obviously we're not talking about Kyle Pitts because everybody's talking about Kyle Pitts.
Right.
He's not going to be that for you. But hey, most tight ends aren't that for you. You know, like
For sure.
Sometimes you just need to find these guys that are going to be good, consistent target hogs, and that's what I think both these guys are. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, PPR league. Got to get all over that.
yeah,
For sure. Yeah, I'll say that in 4 full seasons with Penn State, Mike Gesicki only had 15 touchdowns, and this is 2 and a third season, and he has 16.
Oh, wow.
So he has a nose for the end zone.
Yeah.
Which are like, I don't know what a nose for the end zone looks like, but it's got to be very wide and shallow with a couple of upright facing formations. But it's all good. If you can
like
sniff
it.
it out, you can make it happen.
Well, hey, you know, that wraps up our tight end bonuses right there. We're going to kick it off. This is kind of our first episode where things are all working. So we're going to do this thing called STFU Player of the Week. That stands for Shut the Fuck Up. Let's kick it over to Christian because we kind of have the same guy. Question mark? I don't know. I'll kick it over to you. If you don't, I can cover it.
No. I can wing this. So just to stress, shut the fuck up player can mean shut the fuck up talking about this guy. He's not any good. Shut the fuck up talking about him. He's very good, and I want to get him late. And I think that's where we're both at with Amari Rodgers. I'm still trying to steal this guy in the 3rd round. I don't have a 2nd or a 1st round pick in our upcoming dynasty draft. And I've had my eye on him, and now all these fucking people are bringing him up in their mock drafts, having him going in the 2nd round, and his name is just skyrocketing. So please shut the fuck up about Amari Rodgers, just for me, please.
Yeah, I just want to point out that I have a pick before Christian, and we were drunk in the Super Bowl. He's like, man, I'm looking at this guy, Amari Rodgers. I'm like, I'm so glad I got a pick ahead of you because that's who I'm taking at the 3-7. If you all just shut the fuck up, man. So, Daniel Darthur.
I got to tell you. To Marion Terry. God damn, this guy's amazing. Everything about him's amazing. We're talking 6'4", 210 pounds, just crushing everything. He's fast, he's slick, sticky hands. He's fucking amazing. And I'm trying to pick him up middle of the 2nd round, and you motherfuckers won't shut up about him. Shut the fuck up, man. I'm not doing the 201 on him. I can't do that. I can't, man. The sweat equity, grinding these rookies, I know what I want to pay for him, and you guys are blowing up that spotlight, and I do not want to hear any more about this motherfucker until he's on my roster. So do me that solid, please. Dude's amazing. God damn. That's all I got to say about him.
I guess it is a little hypocritical of me to talk for 15 minutes about Amari Rodgers and then tell everybody to shut the fuck up.
Right?
So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of thumbs down if anyone watches this. So,
Wow.
Love it.
Cool.
So, hey, thanks everybody. We want to do a shout out to playerprofiler.com where we were showing those highlights and the statistics. They show the burst score. It's a really cool site, man. I've learned a lot from it.
Definitely check them out.
Yeah. So, well, shout out there. So, you guys fucking rock. Keep it up.
Thanks.
Because it keeps fueling our shit. So, thanks for tuning in. This has been a Must Love Diggs production. This is Rough Draft Research. Until next time, I'm AJ.
Christian.
Darthur.
All right, goodbye, everybody.
See you guys.
Later.